JaVale McGee has been released by the Dallas Mavericks, and there are rumors coming out that the Lakers could be interested in re-signing the NBA champion. Also, ESPN put out a poll, and the vote from their insiders came out about which NBA superstars are most likely to request a trade. But before we dive into today's show, I want to show some love to my favorite Laker of all time. Kobe Bryant would have turned 45 years old today. It's incredible that Kobe Bryant is no longer with us. Show him some love, Kobe Bean Bryant. Type Bean down in the comment section to wish him a happy birthday. JaVale McGee is an NBA free agent as the Mavericks are going to stretch and waive JaVale McGee ahead of an August 31st deadline. So, following August 31st, he will be free to sign with whatever team he wants. And the Lakers, we know that they need to add a big man behind Anthony Davis and Jaxson Hayes. There's been rumors coming out that they want to beef up that front court. Could they bring back JaVale McGee? I think it is important to state, though, that McGee was absolutely terrible for the Dallas Mavericks this past year. It seemed like he lost all of his lateral quickness, didn't have the same bounce that he had as just the year prior, and he just was not a good player for Dallas. Only 4.4 points per game, only played in 42 ball games for the Mavs, 2.5 rebounds, and less than a block per night. But I'm sure that a lot of Lakers fans hold McGee in a good light considering he is an NBA champion with them, and with the need of adding another big man to this team, could McGee fit that spot? It was absolutely, though, a failed experiment for Dallas. The Mavs gave the 34-year-old JaVale a 3-year contract and promised him the starting center role, which he literally lost after 2 weeks. I don't know what went down in Dallas. Maybe he didn't like playing for Jason Kidd or whatever the reason may be. It didn't work out. Or maybe he's just washed at this point in his NBA career. I mean, he is 34 years old. What a career, though, it has been for McGee, a guy that was on Shackton a fool every day of the early part of his NBA career. Now he's a multi-time champion, and he's been in the league for, 16 years up to this point? Salute to him. I do think, though, that there is a role on this current Los Angeles Lakers team for a guy like Mr. McGee. I mean, you need another rim protector. He was good for the Lakers back on that bubble team, and you could use another guy that could give Anthony Davis a couple of minutes at that center spot. I know we're all expecting Jaxson Hayes to be the first big off the bench, but what about the idea of the Lakers starting Jaxson Hayes at the 5 and Anthony Davis at the 4? Then you could bring a guy like JaVale McGee off the bench, or you could just stagger AD or Jaxson Hayes the rest of the game. And he was on that 2020 bubble team, as we all know, and he was solid for them. He was really good, actually, in the bubble, but throughout the regular season, averaged almost 7 points per game, just shy of 6 rebounds. He's always going to be efficient, as he doesn't have much of an offensive game, much more so just a dunker and a putback guy, a guy that operates out of the dunker spot, but he was also a good rim protector for them. I remember in that bubble series, or that bubble run, the Lakers sheerly dominated teams with the size and strength that they had. Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, a block and a half per night for JaVale. He was really a difference maker in that title run. When you look at the Lakers roster, though, they are somewhat thin at that big man position. We love AD, but we know he's inconsistent. We know he has injury problems throughout the last couple years of his career. I'm a fan of Jaxson Hayes, the hyper-athletic big, great rim runner, can be a good weak side help defender. You got Colin Castleton on a 2-way deal. You need a third center. You do. You need a third big man. Because what happens if Anthony Davis goes down? Knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but the facts are the facts. He's more likely to miss time than not miss time. That's at least what the data tells us. Throughout his NBA career, you could maybe use a strong veteran Laker champion like JaVale McGee on this team. I want to ask all the real ones, should the Lakers sign JaVale McGee? I want you to be Rob Pelinka, and let me know in the comment section. Type S for sign, type P for pass. That'll be the pinned comment on today's show, so take advantage of it. Scroll on down and let me know what you think. We're going to close out the show talking about, I know what ESPN talked about. They had a roundtable discussion where they had a lot of their NBA insiders, and they voted what NBA superstar is most likely to request and force a trade and be moved this upcoming season. We'll talk about that around the corner, but make sure you are all subscribed to the channel because the season is just around the corner, and that means more Lakers Report content for free on everything LA. So subscribe and turn your notifications on. Alrighty, so this was the votes, and this was how they played out. Joel Embiid came in first and received 40% of the total votes from ESPN insiders as to which star player is going to request a trade. Then you got Zion Williamson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Trae Young, Kyrie Irving. Could I interest any Lakers fans in him? I still wish that they would have signed him this past offseason. You got Ja Morant, Donovan Mitchell, and Luka Doncic. I don't think he's going to request a trade unless the Mavs start to tank and lose games on purpose and miss the playoffs yet again. If Rob Pelinka makes a splash move, it would be for a big man, I think, to play alongside Anthony Davis. AD is capable of playing that center position, no doubt about it. But he has stated time and time again in his career, he likes to play the four, and he doesn't like to play the center spot. But could he be your center and maybe Zion Williamson at the power forward position? I'm not exactly sure what you're giving up for Zion, considering he's played in 29 NBA games since 2021. But he is a good basketball player. You cannot argue with that. I mean, look what he did in 2020 when he played in 61 of the 71 games. 27.7 rebounds, almost 4 assists, 61% from the field. Not only is he just an absolute dominant player from the free throw line down, he's a good defensive player as well. Thing is with him, kind of like Anthony Davis, he missed a lot of time. 48 missed games in 2020, 11 missed games in 2021. Don't worry about that. Not worried about 11 missed games. 82 missed the whole year in 2021 and 53 this past year. The dude has missed 194 career games. So to be honest with you, not really all that interested in trading for Zion Williamson. But in the case of Karl-Anthony Towns, does he fit with Anthony Davis? I think this would be a really interesting pairing because you have a guy like Cat, Sir Purr, that can stretch the floor, and really, he's going to go down as one of the best big man shooters of all time. And I think him as a third option next to AD and LeBron, I think it could work out because you're not asking him to be the focal point of your defense or the focal point of your offensive game plan, kind of like he's having to be right now in Minnesota. A pick and pop, LeBron, Cat, AD waiting on the weak side for a backside lob from LeBron. That's a pretty tough offense to stop. We'll talk about more of those trade targets in a second, but get hooked up with our awesome Lakers Purple Real One shirt. Go to this link, chatsports.com/real1. It's in the comments, and you can go click it and shop. Be a real one. When you talk about Cat, you know that he is just deadly from the outside. I mean, he shot 36.6% from deep in 2022, shot 41% in 2021, 38.7% in 2020. I think he won the NBA three-point contest one year. Could be just making that up, but I think that did happen. He's special as an offensive player. I question the heart, I question the dog, and I question the defense. But man, him as a third option, yeah, he could play that Chris Bosh role. We explore Joel Embiid on another show here on the Los Angeles Lakers Report, and I want you, to check it out. Check out what we had to say about Joel Embiid playing potentially with the Los Angeles Lakers because it sounds like he might be forcing his way out. We'll quickly break him down, though. This is his contract, and sure, the numbers are eye-popping when you look at it, 47, 50 and a half, 54, 58. But at the end of the day, he is the MVP, and that's just the cost of doing business in this league if you want to have a superstar on your team. The concern is the injuries. As he gets older, how much of his past injury history will affect his future play? Missed 16 games this past year. I don't have a problem missing 16 games or 14 games. But when you start to miss 21 and 22 and games in the playoffs, you cannot miss games in the playoffs. He missed 2 this year, missed 2 last year, and missed 1 the year before. That's 5 missed postseason games for the big fella out in Philly. And I think that's a key reason as to why they could potentially be having it torn down by Daryl Morey. No Harden, no Embiid. Sounds like a rebuild could be coming out east. All 3 of these guys have their pros and cons. And that can be said about any player in the world. There are no perfect players. And there are absolutely no perfect players that are being traded. I'll do it right now. Steph Curry, who's too small and his ankles are fragile. LeBron James, he's not a good three-point shooter. Larry Bird, he's slow laterally. Magic Johnson couldn't shoot. You can nitpick any person's game. So I don't like the idea that, no, I don't want to trade for him because he doesn't do this. You could say that about absolutely anybody. So don't do that, but do this. Pick a big to trade for. Type 1 for Joel Embiid. Type 2 for Zion Williamson. Type 3 for Karl-Anthony Towns. If I had to choose any of these guys for the Lakers to trade for, it's going to be the MVP. But I think Karl-Anthony Towns is probably the most realistic. I'll let you guys decide in the comment section.